I'm Lewis Knaggs. Hey, I'm a songwriter, producer, and director. I'm here with musicdistrict.io, discovering new music and pioneering music's future in Web3, one broadcast at a time. So join in, listen, and enjoy.
This month on Artist Spotlight, we step into the world of artist Lewis Knaggs, a North London-born singer-songwriter, blending indie rock, Americana, grunge with cinematic storytelling. His journey from behind the camera to center stage is nothing short of inspiring. Known for directing music videos for artists like Eider and working with icons like Post Malone and Metallica, Lewis is now turning the lens on himself. He's a multi-faceted artist who directs and produces his own music videos and visual content. With powerful results and an overwhelming response from the Web3 music community and fans around the world. In this exclusive interview, we explore how love, loss, and life have shaped the evolution for this artist. We dive deep into his latest singles, Everybody's Falling Apart, Friend of Mine, and his upcoming unreleased track, Sound of Silence, a soul-stirring tribute to his late father and a beautiful mediation on healing and hope. But it doesn't stop there. As part of our Artist Promoting Artist segment, Lewis shares the spotlight to raise awareness for another powerhouse in Web3 music, Eli, whose track 15 and Alive is a must-hear for anyone who loves unfiltered, soul-bearing lyricism. And if you're not already talking about these emerging legends in Web3 music, like Lewis Knaggs, Eider, Eli, and other Web3 artist spotlights, now is the time. Listen to the best, support the best, and share the best by tagging them and following them. Don't just watch, build the stage. In Web3, every like, share, and show of support helps lay that foundation for the future of Web3 music. This isn't the fandom of 1990. This is the new era where fans aren't just spectators. They're the bridge between independence and impact. Artists are on the road, and fans are the map. And your support helps all of us go further, faster, and more independent. So visit musicdistrict.io, hit that subscribe and follow. It is very much appreciated as it helps uplift Web3 artists and grow a stronger, more connected Web3 music community. So don't miss Lewis Knaggs on this month's Artist Spotlight.
Well, you say you're a friend of mine, but you won't let me live my life. You say you're the lonely kind, you're just scared of the feeling you'll find. One day I'll be on my own, I will be praying for you to come home. Violence in silence was kind, you'd be thankful if you realized. And you say you're a friend of mine, you're no friend of mine. But it's you that I fear when my thoughts are not as clear. And it's true that I hide, but I've never felt so alive. And you say you're a friend of mine, you're no friend of mine. Yeah, and you say you're a friend of mine.
right, Lewis Knaggs, why don't you give a quick introduction? Tell all the people listening out there in the world who you are, and let's get this party started, brother. I'm super excited.
Let's get it going, man. Yeah, my name's Lewis Knaggs. I'm a musician, I guess you could say rock musician from London, in the UK, United Kingdom, England. And yeah, I make music. I've been writing music for a long time. I also make films, and I make films for my music. So they both go hand in hand, but my music is I'd say the higher end of that passion between the two of those. And yeah, what else do you want to know?
From London, eh? From Camden?
Yeah, Camden. So yeah, born just up the road from Camden, but like Camden is the kind of nearest spot that people kind of globally recognize as a place in London. But yeah, growing up,
and you've lived there your entire life?
Yeah, so I now live more towards like northeast London. So I'm about 20 minutes from Camden now. But yeah, I've lived here all my life. Born and raised. I travel quite a lot with my work and music and things. But if it wasn't for that, I probably would have moved out of London before now. But yeah, I love it. I kind of have a bit of a love-hate relationship with London, I would say. Where
I have the same relationship here in New York, for sure, without a doubt.
In New York, right? I'm going to be in New York next month.
Oh, what are you doing?
Well, my good friends who are in a band called Ida, they're playing at the Mercury Lounge. They're doing 2 nights there. They're a great band. They just released their album, and I do all their music videos. And I'm just going out there for that. And I'm probably going to maybe do a little show in New York.
The sea, I see it in the moon, I see it in the water, I see it in me, I see it in you, I see it in your daughter. A will to survive, a will to thrive, a feminine order. I don't give up, I don't give up. I believe in the flow we found. Where can I go without her now? Sweat dripping off her hair and brow. She moving with the godly now. Make our way through the shifting crowd. Step away, yeah, you're not allowed. We are dancing, we don't slow down. We are dancing, we don't know how. She's with the moon, coming into bloom. She's with the moon, feel it in the room. She's with the moon, coming into bloom. She's with the moon, feel it in the room. If I can bleed, I better believe in revolution. If I can speak, I better write down my own conclusion. A thrill to survive, a thrill to strive, a killer collusion. We don't give up, we don't give up. The demonic in me, I see it in the moon, I see it in the water. Definitively, I see it in you, I see it in your daughter. A call to survive, a call to revive, a feminine order. We don't give up, we don't give up. I believe in the flow we found. Where can I go without her now? Sweat dripping off her hair and brow. She moving with the godly now. Make our way through the shifting crowd. Step away, yeah, you're not allowed. We are dancing, we don't slow down. We are dancing.
I know exactly where Mercury Lounge is. I'm there all the. I grew up there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's on the east side.
Yeah, where in New York are you from then?
From Astoria, in Queens.
Cool. Nice,
Yeah.
man.
It's cool. Yeah, I've been doing this for a little bit. I mean, I've been doing music now for almost 25 years. I started a company before the Music District called Subway Records. I built the first online platform for Subway musicians, and that kind of took off. Again, it's like halftime shows at Madison Square Garden, Radio City. It was a real cool endeavor and building communities since 2002. Let's talk a little bit about your journey from cinematographer to singer-songwriter. Like, what was that defining moment that made you take a leap? Was there a leap?
I would. It's a tricky one because I've always been. I started off making music when I was like, I think probably 10 or 11, because my dad took me to guitar lessons. I used to play piano. Then 10 years old, I was like, oh, Dad, I want to play guitar because I like Green Day and Nirvana, and I want to do that, not piano. But then I learned guitar, and piano has been the foundation of music for me because of seeing a piano in my head, music-wise. And so then I never stopped doing the music. I've been doing music for a long time alongside my filmmaking. And I was always in bands and doing my thing. And then it kind of came to a point where I was like, I'm loving doing the film, and the film is getting me to travel all over the world and work with some really big artists. Like I got to go and film on Post Malone's Vineyard and like all this crazy shit with like do some tour dates with Metallica. So all the kind of things that I wouldn't be able to do with my music, I've been able to do with my film stuff, if that makes sense, because I wouldn't necessarily align with those artists as a support act. But over the years, I've always been doing my music, and it's kind of come to a point now, I'd say, where like my father passed away about 2.5 years ago, and that was probably the kind of key moment where I was like, okay, well, it's time to put out some of this music that I've been sitting on for a long time, and just really give it a good go, really, in his honor, and just to do it justice to myself, because played it to a few people and they're like, man, you should get this out there, and I'm doing that. So this is now the beginning of that train. So I guess that's a long way of answering your question. But
no, it's a beautiful answer. I'm sorry to hear about your father, and 2 years is like yesterday. Yeah. I lost my father when I was 17 years old. So that pain, that hole that goes into your heart, and the creativity that we find within ourselves to express that hurt without tears, to be able to do that in song is a gift. But I was wondering, like, you being behind the camera, and I think you're really touching in on a lot of what Web3 represents, and it represents more than just being an artist. It's being a content creator.
Yeah.
So being behind the lens and watching all these bands, has that affected how you, not only do you present yourself, but has it affected the way that you write, hearing music so intimately from behind the lens from other artists, which a lot of artists don't have that perspective?
So it's kind of like, it's quite, it's really inspiring in that sense, I'd say. And it's kind of like, oh shit, okay. And not without sounding, I wouldn't want to sound big-headed about it, but it does make you kind of go, oh shit, okay, well, you know, if they can do it, I'll give it a go. And I think it helps to make you feel inspired in that sense, because you see it, and it's quite nice. I was
listening to a few I do a lot of due diligence, and I was listening to some of your songs from, I guess, more than 2 years ago, and then and then you have your recent songs, and you're a different artist. Do you feel that some of those personal experiences that you've gone through in the last 2 years, that you've not only grown as an artist and as a person, but do you feel like it's changed the way that you write and sound?
That's really interesting for you to say that. I mean, yeah, what stuff have you heard? Was it from way back or like a couple of years ago?
Well, I was on your YouTube. I was on all over. I was on your Instagram. I was every link I could find. I was diving in.
Oh man, no. Well, thanks. I feel very honored that you've done that to start with, and that's great. And I think, I would completely say that. I think losing my father was kind of like a fundamental shift, as you can relate, really a huge shift at a time where you kind of just starting to figure stuff out in the world anyway, and then that happened. So it was a huge shift, and it kind of made me grow up overnight, I'd say, and it made me think about things differently. And it also made me think about the lyrics of what I'm talking about and the purpose of the music I'm releasing, I think, because previously I'd kind of just thrown stuff up that, you know, sounded cool, melodically nice, the lyrics were kind of lovey-dovey in some ways. But I think when you really lose someone close to you like that, there's like a deeper understanding of love, I think, and the connection to Earth even as a human. And I think that's something I didn't explore before, which I've been exploring.
There is this authenticity that I feel life has. I lost my mom as well a couple of years back.
I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah, it's, I mean, life and death, right? But energy can neither be created or destroyed, so we all live on one way or the other. So I find that when you are with these people and people that you love very deeply in their final minutes and seconds of their life, you find a lot of what they speak shines a lot of light into a perspective of life to which I didn't see through. I didn't see through that lens of that. And it's really changed. It's changed me. It's changed me. I would believe for the better. But I believe that with this authenticity that you give yourself and to the people that you spend time with, without distraction, without thought, there's a lot of power in that. And I feel like that might be a real key ingredient into creating that music. It's not writing music for people. It's writing music for yourself in the most authentic way that people cannot, that people relate to, because they're not that way, but they sometimes wish they could be that authentic with themselves sometimes. And I feel like music provides a tool for that and a whole nother realm of understanding of how, like, the psychology of music.
Everybody's falling apart, and I'm starting to get kinda sick of it. Everybody's getting disheartened. It's a part of the system we live in. Are you happy living in darkness? I'm tempted to start a fight just to be different. No, I'll stay in my place, don't want no trouble to chase my tail while I run for the mountain. Why should I stay here and vote when I suddenly won't make the slightest little bit of a difference? All politicians the same, came from Eden to waste our time and make all of our decisions. But we're falling asleep at the wheel while we keep on driving at 190. I saw a woman in the street, no shoes on her feet, while the suits keep on making their millions. Do you care? Do you care? I know a man in the crane, he used to have many names, now he's fighting on the front line of hell. But thank fuck it's not me, too scared to breathe, let alone be some kind of hero. I see a single mom with a hungry son, wondering where the hell her help's gonna come from. But there's nowhere to go, cause the banks own our homes when they mortgage you up to the eyeballs. Are you scared? Are you scared? I know I say nothing new, I'm just as bad as you, but where am I supposed to get any truth? A generation confused, why do we follow these bruises like sheep into the fires they started? Well, they're raising the prices of life's simple needs. I wanna run through the forest and eat from the trees. Turn off your TV, watch the moon and the sea. To his name, but he smiled at me all the same. Go give as good as you get, take your time, don't regret, find love and just have something to say.
They can get Out Now, Friend of Mine, which I got to tell you is a great song. We're going to be featuring that music video here in Artist Spotlight and distributing that across our Web3 Music Network. A lot of your socials, where people could follow you on X, Twitter, and just go to your main website, right? Which is Lewis, Knaggs music.com, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah, man, that's me.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. I tell you, I'm listening. I'm buying. I mean, now let's talk a little bit about, because this is a great leap, right? Where we turn passive fans into invested supporters of your music. Can we talk about like this most recent song? Is that now out as an NFT? How could people own that music and support you and go a little bit further on that journey with you?
Yeah, so I did a single at Christmas actually, which was it was for a homeless charity in the UK, which I released as an NFT. So that is available through Curios. And the single I did in January, haven't yet done an NFT, but I'm going to package up the 3 singles I do this year, which would be Everybody's Falling Apart, which is out on DSPs. You can listen to it, but and the video's on YouTube. But Friend of Mine's out now too. And then the third one, Sound of Silence, that's coming out on the 4th of April, which I'm really excited about that song actually. I think hopefully you'll like that one. That's a real cry to my father, to hope that wherever he is, he's at peace, and there's silence wherever he is. I completely agree. I think there's part of losing my dad was it was quite a beautiful experience in some ways. I know it sounds crazy, but seeing his last few minutes, and it was quite like, I expected it to really freak me out and fuck me up, but it kind of made me just kind of feel peaceful and like, there's a beauty in that.
Yeah.
So you know, they really like the songs. I've written songs for my friends who've lost people, and so I think in terms of putting it out and going back to what you're doing here with the Web3 space, the NFT world is something that I'm very keen to move into more of, and I'll be packaging things up for people to be able to buy stuff and own it. Really, it's for them to feel that sense of ownership beyond just listening to it on a streaming platform. It's like
correct. How important is that independence to you as an artist, on the front of the camera and on the back of the camera?
I think it's become more and more important actually, especially in exploring the avenues that you could put music out. I think over the past like 3 or 4 months, and in sort of getting all my music ready, it's made me realize how important it is to kind of have the control over what you put out, when, and how you put it out. And I've actually assembled like a bit of a team for myself with my an A&R manager. I've got a day-to-day manager that I've got on board. I've got sort of a kind of brand kind of person that's kind of helping out a little bit. And I plug into my production company to make my videos and release them. So it's made me realize more and more that having a major record label, that we work with quite a lot of record labels as my production company. So, and they often come to us for advice on content creation and how to put stuff out. So it kind of dawned on me. I was like, well, hold on a minute. I don't need to see these as 2 separate things. It's all part of the same thing, really. So creating the music and then creating a kind of tier of content, like the music video, live sessions, live show captures, and then just day-to-day like social content, I guess. It all feeds into this like each release, and it kind of gives people something to have online globally, because I'm not doing loads of shows globally yet, in the process of booking some, but it's it's a way to connect to fans globally, and having that sort of ability to release when you want, decide what you want to release, go out and shoot something. I feel very fortunate to be able to do that, and that kind of encourages me to keep it all within my little network, really.
That's when we talk about that's a great segue here, because your songwriting process, I love the depth of. I'm a lyricist. I love lyrics, and I always listen to lyrics before. Actually, I write lyrics before even there's a melody, and I call it the Paul Revere effect, right? Where you could sing Paul Revere to essentially any good beat if the lyrics strong enough.
Yeah.
Your songwriting process, do you start with the lyrics, or do you start with a melody, or is it a concept that kind of drives you to do one before the other, or maybe both at the same time? I would love that insight, how you write.
Sure, man. Yeah, it kind of varies actually, and I think more recently, when I hooked up with the A&R manager who is kind of, well, he's part of my management network and looks after me, and has been for like a year and a half now. He's been instrumental as a kind of person to essentially kind of like encourage, like, oh, have you seen this in the news, or have you heard this song's wicked, like kind of encouraging like a sort of pathway for songwriting, I guess, to some degree, because I love to write, but when you've got a focus, it's like, oh great, I'll write about that. So if it's Everybody's Falling Apart, to be honest, came from collectively like a few of my really close friends and family just feeling awful about stuff that's going on in their life, and then everything that was going on in the world politically, and some of the ongoing conflicts in the world. It just felt in that moment that everything was falling apart, really, and sometimes it just does feel like that. Yeah. And that song specifically, I just started writing down like all the things that were bothering me, like, and in that song lyrically, it was things I was seeing, like in London, the homeless problem, like someone being homeless in London when there's billionaires here in beautiful apartments. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then mothers on the street who are single mums who don't even know where they're going to be, how they're going to feed their kids sometimes. And there's just all these things that just stacked up on top of me. And then the people that we try and be, and it kind of just made me just write this list, really. And then that list, then just, I knew that it had to be simple chords and something that just allowed the lyric to breathe and could be quite repetitive and build. So that one, lyrics came first with a bit of a story and an intention from my environment. And then the chords came, and then from the chords came the building of this whole song, really. So they kind of, I'll sometimes start with a lyric, and then that might influence the chords, and then the chords help influence the lyrics and the melodies with it. And then that being said, sometimes on the other side where I'll just have a good melody and a hook or a riff that I want to write. Like with a friend of mine, it was just that little riff that I wrote a long time ago, actually, that riff. And then from that came the song, really. So, yeah.
How many songs have you written so far as an artist? Would you say like hundreds of songs, or how many songs have you written and released so far as an artist?
Well, yeah, I'd say written probably hundreds, definitely, over the years. And then in terms of released, to be honest, at the moment as a solo artist, I've only really properly released now 3, which are available online right now. Over the years, I've put out a couple bits here and there, but they're not available. They're just going to be the ones that we've got from now, really, because this is the beginning. It feels like, I know it sounds kind of mad, but kind of is the beginning of it. As other bands I've been in a few other bands too. I was in a band called Red House Glory, which is funny because you should check it out, but it's a few of my my people online and fans, I guess you could call them, have been saying, oh wow, I haven't seen you for years. And so yeah, really enjoying the new music, like I'm back and following, because around the same time when I was doing my YouTube channel stuff, like working with and getting into film, I was putting out music with Red House Glory. So even Friend of Mine actually was a song from back then with that band that I'd written years ago. So I re-recorded it, brought it back.
Ghost, another round of conversations. Ghost, another letter to my head. Go find comfort in another way. Oh, I'm
So 10 songs. I mean, you're in the infancy still of your career. I mean, this is you're just getting started.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I've got plans to release over the next 18 months. We'll be releasing, almost like probably 15, 16 songs.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, man. So we're working towards kind of dropping like an album, but releasing them all as kind of singles over the next 18 months and beyond, really. And then we might group it as an album, or maybe 2 EPs and 2 NFT drops of them. So yeah, I'm taking a kind of full approach to it.
Would you say that there is like one song that you've written that you feel perfectly encapsulates who you are as an artist? A song that just this is the one that represents who it is that I am.
Yeah, I feel like Sound of Silence, which is coming out next, or SOS. That feels like that song. That was because I've been writing quite a lot over the last year or so, kind of off the back of a song that I did with a guy called Charles Cave, who's the bass player of quite a big rock band in the UK called White Lies. They're pretty big in Europe and UK. I went on tour with them in the summer, and before the tour, a couple months before, I did a session with him and wrote this song called Forever Falling, and it was like, holy shit, like this feels like a good tune. And because I wrote it with him, I felt like I could say that, because I don't want to blow smoke up my own ass. So but with him, I was like, okay, cool, I've got a song here. I wrote it with Charles from White Lies, and it just hit me. It was like it was losing love during grief, actually. So like being with somebody and kind of just being so confused by the journey of grief that you've had to part ways with that special someone, because trying to keep that going during that time was just too tough. And that song will be coming out after Sound of Silence. But after writing that song with Charles, it kind of just, and hearing it and being like, fuck, if this is where we're going with this, I've got more songs like that in the tank. So I wrote Sound of Silence a couple months later, and then I feel like that's almost better than Forever Falling now in that way. And I've got I was in the studio with the drummer of a band called Gang of Youths. They're like an Australian band. One of my favorite bands. You should check them out if you haven't heard them yet.
Gang of Youths. Yeah, I'll definitely check them out.
Gang of Youths, they're fucking amazing, man.
Cool.
And I've got a little story about that, how I came across them later. But the drummer came in the studio. I messaged him and just said, hey man, like would you want to jump on these demos that I've got? And he was like, yeah, bro, of course. These sound great. Like, you know, I'll jump in. So he came in and just brought because he's such an amazing drummer. He just brought the Gang of Youth sound to that track. And it's just like this driving drum beat, which just gets your heart rate going, bro. It's like,
yeah.
And it was kind of written at a time when it was like coming out of a dark, long winter. Kind of this kind of time of year. I wrote it last year, and it was like knowing that the spring's coming, the summer's coming, and the sun's going to rise and be a longer day. And it's kind of the hope of that, I suppose. And it kind of, to answer your question, the long way again, sorry, but it's the hope and the beauty in hope that comes from seeing the sunshine and knowing that the sun will always rise tomorrow and the day will get longer in the summer. And even when it does become the winter, there will be another summer coming. And it's this kind of like cyclical thing of human nature and leaning into that. And things that you can only really come to really value as you get a bit older, I think, or you've lived more life and you've gone through a bit more, I suppose.
That must have been an incredible experience for you. What was the biggest lesson that you took from being on the road as an artist? And in addition to that, being on the road, I would love to hear your input as to the adoption of, or the talk or the buzz of Web3. Is it even a conversation yet out there on the road among other artists and fans that you might have come into contact with?
Like I actually had the privilege of hanging out with the wonderful Violetta Zeroni, who's quite a queen of the Web3 world. I don't know. Have you heard of her?
Yeah, I know. I know V. She's great.
Yeah, man. So she's so I met her out in Miami when I was out there for this Art Basel event thing. And
I was out in Miami. You were out there too? We didn't cross.
Yeah, we didn't cross. Oh shit.
Yeah, I was at the. Where were you? What events?
I was kind of just hanging out with Violetta quite a bit. She invited me to a few things that I can't quite remember what they were. We just turned up.
Okay, yeah.
But I was just there on obviously just a kind of film vibe. But My buddy lives out there. He moved from London to my childhood friend, Joe. He moved out to Seattle and then he moved to Miami. So I was staying with him and just going to events and hanging out, really.
Yeah,
so,
it was a great experience just to hang out with the community outside of the PFPs. What I'm saying, like,
yeah, completely.
100%.
And that exactly is where I've learned even more about the Web3 space. So to kind of, I guess, what you were saying about what was the word on the street there? I think a lot of artists aren't that aware of the Web3 world, and like Violetta is. So seeing Violetta, speaking to her, it was just quite amazing to see this world. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, there's a way we can harness this, because I think a lot of artists that you see on the road and who are quite well known and are able to tour, their audiences are somewhat propped up by the major label kind of system that exists. And you don't know any different because of that. And I think part of the sort of experience I had with Violetta was being like, oh shit, okay, well, you can take, a lot of artists are great, motivated people that sometimes they're not always the best business people, but sometimes they are, or at least they're not given an opportunity to be, because it's just assumed that you just sign to a label, because that's how it's been for the last 70 years. And that's not to say a label can't help with some structure, some organization and some plans. But if you're planning and structured enough to release and record your own music, then going into the Web3 space to release your music and figuring out a way that you can, if it's selling off a bit of your master to your fan base through blockchain, or exploring other avenues to allow your fans to access certain parts of what you're doing as a musician or show or whatever it might be that you're trying to release, in order to keep funding it and keeping it going. I think people aren't aware of what possibilities are there, but it's growing. You know?
Yeah, so, man, it's a work in progress for sure. And I've been now doing this for a couple of years now, and and what we're evolving into is just conversations like this with artists, intimate conversations with artists, one-on-one. I'm learning so much about what artists need and what they want and what fans want from being a part of that community. As a Web3 artist, what would you say, one of the, obviously putting your music on chain is fine, utility, I get it. I don't think we're there to where we could do token gated experiences. I mean, we can do it, but I don't think the fans are there yet. I think the fans are still trying to figure out what Web3 music is and what on-chain music is and what investing in music actually means. People think because they can listen to the music on Spotify, that's all they want and that's all they need. But it's being and playing a bigger role in the music that you love. And I think, to me, that is the biggest, most important thing for fans to understand. You have a living, breathing, actionable opportunity to have a one-on-one relationship with that artist and the independence and the success of that artist to which the music you love. And that's where I think the real understanding and education happens. It's turning passive listeners into invested fans. And it's so exciting here because, like you said, there's not a lot of that chatter. There's so much opportunity and promise for tomorrow, but there's still a lot of onboarding that we all need to do. And as I always say, if we could all just bring in one fan, one artist, a week, a day, or even in a lifetime, I mean, we'd be all good.
Well, this is it, man. And I think that's what's important, really. And I think also making sure that the content that you're, I guess, selling as an NFT is something that's exclusive and something that's exciting for the audience that you're building. And someone I think I read something or watched a video recently, which was really interesting, about how important it is to have a kind of somewhat of a starving audience who are hungry for your music, right? And I think by putting out regularly good music or good sessions and stuff that people can really feel like they can get on board with, and that's not to say you have to be doing stupid videos or whatever you might, to try and get attention and whatever it is, but it's kind of goes back to what you were saying about connecting with music, right? And lyrically and emotionally, if you connect with that and someone's speaking to you in a way that's like, fuck, like this is changing my life and I want to keep hearing more, then that's when you kind of access into like a different level of fan and person who probably be willing to invest in your NFT, and then they get in on something early on that might build. Or so I think I think it's those kind of fans who are really,
it's like the fan. It's the evolution of the fan. It's fandom. It's fandom.
Yeah.
This used to be, music used to be an individual sport. With Web3, it's now become a community sport, a team effort. And it's leveraging those in your community, like me being a fan of you and me doing this for you and doing whatever I can to help you on your journey of independence, right? I think there's a lot of people like myself that want to do that. I believe in it. At least I hope that, right? But could you envision at some point like being 100% on chain? Because royalties, distribution, all of that is inherently 100% more transparent, quicker, faster, less red tape. And I believe that's where all music is going to be and go at some point. I mean, it's not if, it's when. But do you see yourself making that transition and that leap?
Yeah, I think so. And that's kind of part of the plan, actually, because I think like at the moment, because I've just kind of started the train, it's just left the station really in regards to the music releasing. The importance is kind of, well, the initial part of the plan really is to try and use the kind of traditional avenues of social media and some of the streaming platforms to kind of build a bit of an audience and even reach people like yourselves as well. And who like obviously have heard it from the internet, so you kind of have to get it out there. But yeah, in small clip forms, I've been putting out some longer songs that people can listen to basically just get on board. And then as that develops, some of the newer music, I'd like to start offering that thing of people being able to have a part of the song. Like Violetta sold a song for Bitcoin, and as you build, I think it's important to have that offering there. And I would like to move towards that really.
There's a lot of different ways to get to the end zone. And it's really finding your pocket. What is it that your music does that a lot of other artists just don't do? What is it that you're doing? Maybe not even in music and sound, or maybe in utility. One of the things I mentioned with Artist Spotlight last month, we interviewed the lead singer to a band called Mies from Toronto.
Oh, nice.
And we were talking about, Patty and I were talking about NFT utility. And I said, I don't see a lot of artists, right? Especially with utility, have just happy hours. No event, no music event, just a straight up happy hour. It's an hour, 2 hours. You come down there with your NFT. And what you do is during that time, during this happy hour, you start promoting your event at that venue in 2 weeks from that point. Letting everybody know that's in that venue right now, let's help me promote this event.
Yeah, interesting.
Right? I think there has to be we have to get acclimated again, defragmented, and repositioned to think in a new way. I don't think that that's happening a whole lot. I think we're using a lot of the old rules in a new platform, not in a new way. Yeah. The distrust in music still exists, which I don't quite understand when it's 100% fucking transparent. Now focusing on the ideas and focusing on the true talent that I see in Web3, supporting that music and doing whatever I can to heighten the music community as a whole is my sole purpose. And coming up with technology in addition to those ideas. We do something here on Web3 Artist Spotlight called Artists Promoting Artists. It's an opportunity for the artist that we're interviewing, an opportunity to share that spotlight with an artist that you feel. Now, let me say it this way. They don't have to be in Web3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Right? But they got to have some sort of X profile, right? So we could tag them and at least they could see a little bit of that love that we're shedding when sharing with them.
Yeah. Let me see if, so I've got someone who I think would be the one. So he's called Eli, but he's like Eli Singh.
Okay, perfect. We're going to check him out and we'll share him with everybody. And I appreciate you bringing him up. Yeah, Artists Promoting Artists, I think is such a great way to sort of onboard new music into the community. There's so much talent out there. And nothing against the artists that are already in here, for sure. They're amazing. I mean,
course.
But we want to onboard, we want to grow, and we want to support. And I hope those artists that are always mentioned do just the same in supporting the new artists coming in. I mean, that's the key and a measure of their authenticity, quite honestly.
Yeah, they used to say I had everything and I didn't waste, but I had no love to make, so I'd fantasize by my teacher's face. And he was straight, so was I gotta go, man, I wouldn't lie about my family, now they care for me, now everything's just fine. Loosen my tie, cause I made up my mind. Run away from the missing man, I got something better than a study plan. Laces untied, I just wanna get high. At least tomorrow saves me. I don't wanna grow up, cause I got me running in my blood. And I don't wanna feel like I don't live up to you, but does it even matter? I'm trying to get by, but it hurts being 15 and alive. They hold me so high, I keep falling behind, cause it's harder to try with my head in the sky. Just another deadbeat saying I'll be dead meat if my mother finds out I skipped class. Cause I'd rather play guitar while I'm looking at the glass. Rather listen to bullies in a book and see you last than do nothing, cause I'm really just angry at my dad. I hate this place, I hate his face. Hate's a strong word, but I say it way too much. When the world gets me down, gotta get me out of here. I don't wanna cry, cause I gotta let me running in my blood. And I don't wanna feel like I don't live up to you, but does it even matter? I'm trying to get by, but it hurts being 15 and alive. It hurts being 15 and alive. It hurts being 15 and alive. Yeah, it hurts being 15 and alive. I don't wanna cry, cause I gotta let me running in my blood. No, I don't wanna feel like I don't live up to you, but does it even matter? I'm trying to get by, but it hurts being 15 and alive. It hurts being 15 and alive. It hurts being 15 and alive. It hurts being 15 and alive.
Bro, that's great, man. Thank you, Lewis.
All good, bro.
Yeah, man, I gotta tell you, let me come back in here. I appreciate you taking the time, and it's been a pleasure meeting you. I'm even a deeper and stronger fan of yours right now. So thank you so much, and I wish you nothing but positive vibes, good energy, and much success.
Thank you so much.
We'll do a revisit, and we'll check in on each other, and it's the beginning of something beautiful, and I'm excited to be on this journey with you.
Fantastic, man. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm on board. I'm Lewis Knaggs. Hey, I'm a songwriter, producer, and director. I'm here with musicdistrict.io, discovering new music and pioneering music's future in Web3, one broadcast at a time. So join in, listen, and enjoy.
You were just 20, looking for a place to calm your hunger. You were shaped like a dream. We both said forever, whatever that means. But I feel I'm falling, but I feel I'm falling, but I just wanted to feel alive. But when you turned 21, I was getting numb and you were getting broody, settling for the long run. But over my head on my dead body, I'm heading on alone. But why would I settle down if we're all gonna die someday, some way, somehow? All our tears have settled somewhere underground. All our heart and all our feeling, now we're a world away from where we started out our days. And I can feel your pain. Pain goes away and grief's here to stay. And we lost our love somewhere in the darkness, and now it's getting so cold. You're alone in your bed and I sold your soul. Run away and get out of here. Oh no, we're never gonna get out of here. 'Cause we are forever falling, forever falling. Did I leave you hanging on? But how can I get it right if I don't get it wrong? All my love and all my feeling. Come on. Yeah. I've been losing my hold. Never thought I would feel so cold. Come on. All I need is my hope. On and on and on, just take me home. Home, and I might settle down. But I'll always leave a part of my heart in your hands. 'Cause we are forever falling, forever falling. If only I was a better man. But I lost my father just as we were making plans. I don't know where I am going, but I know where I am. I love you all. Thank you so much.